Good evening and welcome to another exciting, thrilling episode of Movie NP Halloween Edition, the vlog where we review movies and analyze them for life hacks and success tips. Tonight's review and analysis will feature the classic film Labyrinth from 1986. Labyrinth will be screened at Saturday, 10/19/24 at 10:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central as part of the Svengolis Bonanza on MeTV. This is the first time the film will be shown on Svengoolie, so I'm very interested in hearing his commentary of the film. Labyrinth is directed by Jim Henson and starring David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly. It's a fantasy adventure filled with imaginative lessons about growing up, self discovery, and personal empowerment. As Sarah journeys through the maze to rescue her brother, she learns valuable lessons that can be translated into success tips for real life. The general description: the film is 1 hour 41 minutes long. It's rated PG, carries an IMDb rating of 7.3 out of 10. It's available on DVD and Blu ray from Amazon.com, including a special edition box set that comes with the crystal ball featured in the film. I confirmed it is also available to stream on Amazon Prime and voodoo.com/fandango at home. As per IMDb, it's also available to stream on Hulu, Peacock, Plex, the Roku channel, Shout, and Tubi. The genre is family, adventure, and fantasy. Labyrinth boils down to a coming-of-age story similar to Alice in Wonderland, The Wizard of Oz, or Peter Pan. In fact, I kind of think of it as a darker version of Peter Pan. So before I get into the plot, I owe you all a spoiler alert. The plot revolves around a 16-year-old girl named Sarah who is still much of a child at the beginning of the film. The opening scene finds her in the park wearing a fairy tale style dress, reciting lines from a book, The Labyrinth. Interesting, however, she cannot remember the last line, an element that you will discover surfaces again. It then soon begins to rain and she runs home. Upon arriving home, she discovers that her father and stepmother are going out to dinner and she is forced to watch her snotty-nosed little brother, Toby, while they are away. This results in an argument and she goes to her room to pout. Looking around her room, you can easily see that Sarah is much more into fantasy than she is the real world. If being forced to watch Toby is not insult enough, she finds her prized teddy bear has been placed in his crib for him to play with, and perhaps even worse, Toby will not stop crying. This leads Sarah to take inspiration from her book, and in a spell-like fashion, she wishes the goblins would take Toby away. Out of the blue, Toby stops crying, and when she looks for him, she learns that her wish has been granted, and he has been taken by Jareth, the Goblin King. Jareth offers Sarah her dreams in exchange for the baby, but immediately she realizes that she has made a mistake, and she refuses and asks Jareth to give Toby back. Jareth agrees to do so only if she can solve the labyrinth in 13 hours by reaching his castle in the center of Goblin City. Otherwise, Toby will be turned into a goblin and remain with him forever. Before Sarah can blink, she is standing just outside the walls of the labyrinth. She soon runs into a dwarf named Hoggle that she coerces into showing her how to enter the labyrinth. Once inside, she runs into some worms that give her some assistance, but Sarah does not know the right questions to ask, and what she does not know is that they gave her the wrong directions. Sarah quickly learns that there is no such thing as anything being fair in life, and looks can be deceiving. At one point, she tells Jared that he is not being fair, and he responds by stating, "You say that so often. I wonder what your basis for comparison is." Just as in the real world, Sarah runs into a cast of characters on her quest, some which are helpful, some that are not, some that could care less and are self consumed, some that are deceitful, and some that intentionally mean her harm. The creepiest of all these for me is the Fire Gang. This is a group of fiery red monkey like creatures that can take off their arms, legs, remove their heads, play with them. They think Sarah can do the same, and they're attempting to pull off her head, but thankfully she escapes. Another scene: Sarah is deceived and given a poison peach that puts her into a trance. She wakes in the dreamlike state where Jareth comes to her at a masquerade ball, proclaiming his love for her, but something in the room catches her attention and jolts her out of the spell, perhaps because it's all too perfect, and something inside her tells Sarah that this is not real. She then wakes in a garbage dump where a creepy old junk woman attempts to distract her by giving her a bunch of dazzling trinkets and material items. When Sarah fails to be persuaded with this stuff, the walls begin to crumble and the items turn into trash. She is soon reunited with her friends as they arrive at the gates of the Goblin City and prepare for the final battle. So let's get into life hacks and the success tips. But before I do so, here's my usual disclaimer. What I'm about to discuss is for general purposes only. It's not intended to diagnose or treat anyone's conditions. Speak to your healthcare provider. Only you and your healthcare provider can determine the best course of action for you. So, 10. Take responsibility for your actions. Lesson here is at the beginning of the movie, Sarah blames others for her problems and wishes her brother would be taken away. When the Goblin King Jareth grants her wish, she realizes the consequences of her words and takes responsibility by embarking on the dangerous journey to rescue him. The takeaway here is that personal growth comes from owning up to your mistakes instead of blaming others or circumstances, taking accountability and work towards fixing what you can control. This will lead to maturity and self empowerment. Blaming others for your lot in life and comparing yourself to others is actually giving your power to them. The minute you stop doing so, you take your power back and you take your first true steps towards success. So, how do you do so? Well, first, by starting a gratitude journal and writing a daily list or weekly list of the things that you are thankful for. This will keep you focused on the positive and not the negative and prevent you from blaming others. The second is to use cognitive reframing. Anytime you think someone has a better life, a better car, a better job, better looks, push your thoughts to be happy for them. In fact, I go so far as to thank God, the gods, or the universe, whatever your thing is, for providing them such a gift. Number 9, face your fears. The lesson here is throughout the labyrinth, Sarah encounters various frightening and confusing challenges. Instead of giving up, she faces each obstacle head on, showing resilience in the face of fear. The takeaway here is fear is a natural part of life, but facing your fears instead of running away from them is the path to growth. It's through overcoming challenges that we learn our true strengths. Number 8, trust in yourself. In the beginning, Sarah is unsure of herself and her abilities. As she progresses through the labyrinth, she begins to trust her instincts and make bold decisions which help her succeed in her quest. The takeaway here is confidence and self trust are keys to achieving your goals. Even when you doubt yourself, trust your intuition and remember that you are capable of more than you think. 7. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Sarah doesn't go through the labyrinth alone. She meets and befriends characters like Hoggle, Ludo, Sir Didymus, who assist her along the way. Though hesitant to trust at first, she realizes the importance of accepting help from others. The takeaway here is that no one achieves success completely on their own. It's okay to seek guidance, lean on others for support, and build meaningful relationships that can help you on your journey. Number 6, things aren't always what they seem. The labyrinth is filled with illusions and tricks that constantly challenge Sarah's perception of reality. She learns that not everything is as it appears and that she must think critically to solve the puzzles in front of her. Takeaway here is that in life, situations are not always what they seem at first glance. Take the time to analyze, think critically, and question appearances before making decisions. Being perceptive can help you navigate life's complexities. Number 5, persistence is key. It seems to be a common thread in almost every one of my videos, almost every film, that the labyrinth here is designed to be distorting and at times seems impossible for Sarah to succeed. Yet she never gives up, pushing forward even when the odds seem stacked against her. Takeaway here is persistence is one of the most important keys to success, if not the number one key. Even when the path ahead seems difficult or unsurmountable, Keep moving forward. Perseverance will help you overcome challenges and reach your goals. Number four, embrace growth and change. The lesson here is at the start. Sarah clings to childhood fantasies and doesn't want to take on adult responsibilities. By the end of the journey, she grows emotionally and is ready to accept her new role as an adult. The takeaway: growth often means letting go of the past uh, and confront and stepping into new responsibilities. Embrace change as part of life's natural progression and allow it to shape you into a stronger, more capable version of yourself. Three, you have power over your own life. Lesson here is one of the movie's most important lines comes from Sarah when she finally confronts Jareth and says, "You have no power over me." This realization that she holds the power over her own choices and destiny is what ultimately defeats the Goblin King. Very similar to Dorothy's power to return home. She had it with her all the time. The takeaway here is remember that you are in control of your life and your choices. External forces may try to influence you, but in the end, you hold the power to shape your own path. Two, don't get sidetracked by material things or items. The junk lady uses material objects to try to distract Sarah and cause her to run out of time before she reaches the Goblin Castle. At first, it looks like the junk lady will succeed, but something causes Sarah to snap out of it. The takeaway here is that we are bombarded with advertisement. They tell us that you are nobody unless you drive this car, drink this beverage, carry this handbag, wear those jeans, and wear that watch. But none of this is true. You are not the car that you drive. You are not the handbag that you carry. Their goal is to distract you while they drain your wallet. They are like magicians that keep you distracted by having you look one direction while they use sleight of hand to pick your pockets. It's all just propaganda. Don't believe me? Take the red pill and Google the life and times of Edward Bernays, Bernays. Look, almost everything is made in China nowadays anyway. They have a pile of all the same stuff, all made the same way, all for pennies on the dollar. Yet one of them gets a designer label and a price tag for $100, and the next one gets a generic label and the price tag for $15. It is said that Einstein stated that compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe. But you can't tap into this power if you have no money in the bank. And even if you don't invest or you are afraid to invest, the easiest way to amass a small fortune is by keeping that money in your pocket, not stuffing it into theirs. Oh, and here's another tip the marketers of those high interest quote unquote investment products will not tell you. The average rate of inflation in the US is approximately 3%. So, unless that investment vehicle is producing an interest rate greater than 3%, you are actually losing money by letting it sit there. Look for another vehicle. Number one, know what questions to ask. In one of the key scenes, Sarah encounters a riddle involving two door knockers as she navigates the maze. Each knocker guards a door, and she must choose which one to pass through, but there's a catch. One door leads to safety, and the other one to certain danger. One knocker can speak but can't hear because the ring is in his ears. The other one can hear but can't speak because the ring in his mouth. This dynamic challenge of communication as Sarah must decide how to approach her choice based on limited interactions. While the riddle seems to allude to the classic logic puzzle, like the two-door puzzle, where one guard always tells the truth and the other always lies, the focus here is more about Sarah trusting her instincts rather than solving a complex verbal puzzle. After an amusing back and forth with the knocker, she ultimately chooses the door without overanalyzing. This illustrates two things. One, communication and choice. The scene highlights how difficult it can be to make a choice when communication is unclear or limited. So always try to make the communication clear. And if it isn't clear to you, ask questions. Two, instinct over analysis. Unlike traditional riddles that rely on logic, the scene emphasizes trusting one's gut, as Sarah does in her eventual decision. There is a thing called paralysis through analysis. Don't get dragged into that. The two-door puzzle is a classic logic riddle. The setup typically involves two doors, one of which leads to safety and the other to danger. One guard always tells the truth, the other guard always lies. But the key is not so much in choosing the right door, but in asking the right question. To solve the puzzle, the question you must ask word for word to either one of the two guards is this: if I were to ask the other guard which door leads to safety, which door would they point to? So, this is why it works. If you ask the truth teller, they will tell you what the liar would say. Since the liar always lies, the truth teller will point to the door that leads to danger. If you ask the liar, they will lie about what the truth teller would say. The truth teller would point to the correct door, but since the liar lies, they also point to the door that leads to danger. In both cases, the answer will be the dangerous door, so you should always pick the opposite door of the one that they point to. The takeaway here is learn to ask the right questions. Case in point for those of you that are heading into college or seeking a new degree. Colleges and universities are at their core nothing more than a business. They are out to make money. They love to latch on to buzzwords like forensics or cybersecurity. They want you to think that their degree will lead you to a career tracking down Hannibal Lecter from a piece of chewing gum you found on the sidewalk, all while preventing a group of Libyans from finding some crackpot scientist over the dark web to build them an atomic device from some plutonium that they stole. What then is the right question to ask? Ask this: how many jobs are available in the US for the degree after graduation? And then do your own research to confirm this. Well, that's it for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed. Please click like and subscribe, and please share with a friend. Comment below your thoughts. Let me know what I can maybe help you out with, what you're struggling with, and if there's a film you would like me to review. Join me next week. Pleasant nightmares. I do hope the bedbugs bite, and be well.